Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Navigating Mental Health Stigma. I am Lisa and we have Alicia and Lachelle is here with us today as well. If you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lachelle. I decided to join in because Alicia and Lisa have been right there with me going through all the different struggles that I've had over the last couple of years. I have been struggling with anxiety my whole life. I feel like everybody does, and it's at a different level for everybody. It's not too visible with my anxiety. People can't really tell it on the inside, but my brain is going 1,000 miles an hour. I'll look like I'm very, very calm, but I'm freaking out. And I feel like it's okay if you deal with it on the inside, but you need to find somebody that you can talk to so that it can be released, so that you don't explode. And that is a real thing that can happen, and it typically happens to those that you feel don't deserve it. And these two ladies here are people that I'm able to call upon at any time, together and separately, just to help me work through things, to help me vent, just to help me laugh about whatever's going on. And it's really important to find people like that. It can be complete strangers. We didn't know each other. We just happened to be at the same fashion show.
Same
And
place,
we
same
just,
time.
Yes,
exactly.
right time, well, wrong situation, but
Right, exactly. I was not, and I think I met both of you separately, but for the same organization.
Right.
And it's just weird that I hit it off with the two of you separately, and then, an opportunity presented itself, and it's like, okay, we are three peas in a pod.
Right. Meant to be.
after I left that night, I hit up Alicia going, you have to meet Lachelle. You are going to love her.
Yeah.
Like, I was on such a high note going, dude, she said everything we were saying we needed to talk about. Like, yeah.
And Lachelle and I had done shows together, but not met each other because I have pictures of us, right, from the same shows. And just right timing, finally we connected, and it's been great since. This is our own little support group that's helped all of us. Lachelle's been there for us as well.
Yeah, she has.
Any phone call or text, we try to be there for each other.
It's like
Exactly.
we needed each other, and the universe knew it for sure.
Yeah, that's how it works. Draws each other together, like minds, right? We think alike, and need someone.
What I was trying to talk to you guys about this last week was like different ways that we can change what we say to help end the stigma. And I know that we just kind of flow on that a lot about like not saying that I suffer from anymore, or the ways other people actually react to people that are struggling, like, oh, get over it, or, well, they completely disregard your feelings. Like, there's a lot of stuff. And I think with the two of you, we've never done that to each other. Like, we've always been ready to be like, feel how you feel. It is okay to feel stressed, and it's okay to feel that I got your back. Like, if you want to vent. And I think that's so important with a group of friends,
Yeah, instead of, oh, you're just crazy, or, oh, you're being emotional again, you're being dramatic, and that's a very insensitive way to react to someone who's coming to you with some type of problem, whether it be stress or sadness, and we don't do that with each other. And that's one of the biggest things is like the words we use, the language, and, to help understand that, no, I'm here to listen, I'm not just disregarding whatever emotion you're going through, like we can work through it together.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. No judgment. That's the key thing. You don't want to go into a situation feeling you're prejudged. That's why you go to specific people. And if they react a certain type of way, you're like, okay, well, maybe I am crazy. And I hate that word crazy because in all honesty, I feel like we're all crazy to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just like make that no longer a stigma. Like you calling somebody crazy, well, we're all crazy in this world, so who cares? But they're
Live in
coming
a
to you for
crazy
help.
world.
Exactly. So what's the issue with them coming to you? And if you don't necessarily know how to handle it, or if it is too much for you, you can go ahead and say that. You can say, whoa, slow down, or I don't really know how to handle that.
Right.
What can we do to find somebody that you can speak to? Or you know what? Can you take a breath? Can you take a breath? And so maybe we can backtrack because, you know, I want to help you, but I just don't know how to. And I'm a little freaked, but not to the sense that I don't want to be here for you.
Right. I don't want to
That
listen.
is
Like,
the
let
key.
me help you. Help me help you, you know, so we can get through whatever it is you're trying to get through.
Without making the assumption that I don't care because I don't know exactly what
Right.
needs to be said or done in this situation. A lot of situations are very different. And it's easy to navigate ones that you've been through before or ones that are similar to what you've been through before. And I think that's why, like, it's so easy to talk with you about that, Lachelle, because what we've gone through is so similar, especially in matters of the heart and like family. Like, you know, there's so much love and stuff that I can give to you and advice because I've been down the road that you're going through and I don't want you to hurt. So it's easy for me there, but I can't naturally give advice to everybody. But that's why there's places to call. There's trained therapists that can totally 110% help you whenever you need it. But you can't just beat somebody up for, you know, like not getting it.
Exactly. And sometimes it's necessary to go to somebody on the outside. You know, yes, a therapist is great. However, sometimes a stranger is the perfect person to talk to. They will be unbiased. They might just see that you need some help, because that's happened to me in the grocery store where this little old lady comes up to me. You need to smile. What is going on? You are too young and pretty to have a frown on your face. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really not trying to walk around with an ugly look on my face. And I say ugly because a frown is negative. I'm not saying that I have an ugly face or that anyone has an ugly face, but a frown is not positive. A smile, you know,
See, but that could be
it means
that causes that stigma. Is like frowns, yeah, they are negative, but that frown is there for a reason.
Right.
exactly. And that woman recognized it. And her recognizing it to me, I was like, oh, I am feeling ugly on the inside. I'm thinking about these things over and over and over again. I don't need to take this around with me. Maybe I do need to speak to somebody. Sometimes I've just opened up and been like, you know, like, it is hot.
Right.
And being able to release the fact to this woman, we're able to bond over the fact that it is 90 degrees outside. It ends up being a venting place. Even though I'm over here really raging about something else, I'm still able to get it out with a complete stranger, and she doesn't even know that she has done me major justice.
Yeah.
And even doing things
necessarily.
like that for other people, you know, you see someone down or whatnot, it's that golden rule, like just say hi, just smile. You don't know whose day you can change. And instead of people being rude and like, oh, you know, you should smile more. She was trying to be nice and like, hey, you know, you're so pretty, or why, you know, you shouldn't look that way. And just that alone, someone acknowledging and seeing you, because that's the other problem, which is why we like probably have come together and stayed so close, is no one listens or sees what's going on, even if it is plain on your face, you know, like something's wrong and no one's asking. So it's hard to talk about it.
Yeah.
When it's like it's a little obvious and, you know, no one really cares, so why bring it up? but that shouldn't be the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I really appreciate that she didn't invade my privacy either, because she could have been like, what's wrong? All in my face, trying to say, no, you need to tell me what's going on. I know something is wrong. No, she said those quick little words and acknowledged me. And that's all I needed for that moment. And who knows where that had taken me after that point. Maybe I might have been more open to reach out to somebody, whether it's a professional or somebody that I trust to speak to. And so that's important for everyone to remember, that it is okay to approach those that might seem a little sad at the moment or a little angry. And then another thing to think about, when someone looks angry, it might be because they're angry with the situation. They're angry that they're always sad all the time. So don't necessarily think that they are mad and somebody that you cannot approach, and that this might turn into a negative situation.
And
literally,
sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but there's a fine approaching too. Like you said, she could have approached you and been like, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? And then you're like, whoa, back the F up, you know, like leave me alone. Whereas like,
whether you know someone or not, that approach is,
there's definitely a proper way to approach the situation, and it's not trying to dig into somebody to get that out of them. It's definitely more of like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, if you want to talk, I'm here. Like, or, you know, yeah, you're really
open door, you know, like.
You're pretty
exactly.
I'm sure you're really pretty when you smile. Like,
right.
You know, like
right.
like that.
You know.
Right.
And then even if you see that they're wearing a sports team, like right now the NBA playoffs are going on. You know, if you want to comment on the Lakers, you know, make some. It doesn't matter.
Small conversation.
Just speaking to somebody, like, you might have a positive conversation, and that'll change everything, their perspective on life at that moment.
Right.
It's crazy.
Just because you made a Kobe reference.
You know, there's people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's people who care. There's nice people in the world, you know, like.
Because there are. You
there
know,
are.
you just gotta find them, right?
But it's like, I think too, a lot of us start getting this like harder shell around us because of the society that we do live in. And a lot of us have been made to not talk about these things. So we immediately get into this habit of judging people. And I think that that's something that causes a lot of the issues when approaching people, or a lot of the issues with handling how to approach somebody. And then there are people who love to help, but then they're just overly there. And it's, you know, you need to know when to take a step back and just say, hey, I kind of need my space, but when I'm ready, I can talk to you. And thank you so much for that. It's a lot of communication issues, I think.
It is. And, you know, some people, it's hard to just openly be like, oh, I have anxiety, I have PTSD, or I'm bipolar, because now someone has put this negative stigma of this label of, oh, this is what it means to have anxiety. I can't be around that person. She's always going to flip out or something. You know, and you're prejudging based on these labels, which is another problem of changing what these disorders or these illnesses that people live with every day. They're functioning every single day. We have responsibilities that we all take care of, but we can still have anxiety. You can still have PTSD, you know, and it's not a bad thing to say, I am diagnosed with anxiety or this or that, you know. That alone is such a negative label, and it shouldn't be that way.
I feel like I'm going to start telling people I struggle with it. You know what I mean? Like, I struggle.
Yeah, you just live with it every day, because it is something to live with. You know, my endometriosis, there's no cure for that, and it's something, you know, that I've not, like any other illness, mental illness, you don't let it, if possible, right, you do what you can to not let it interrupt your everyday life so you can have a quality of life, which is why it's important to be able to talk about this stuff, or else that's all you're thinking about. You're freaking out. You have no one to vent to, no one to understand, and it becomes such a distraction to the functioning of like just living life.
Exactly.
I'm just over here nodding my head like, I couldn't have said that more perfect, girl.
Well, it's stressful. That alone, it's like, you know, there's many things I know we're all very similar that kind of at least touches our emotions, not necessarily stresses us out, you know, but because we're so comfortable and non-judgmental, I think we're able to use different language and words with each other with the understanding like, oh, she's, you know, she's not really gonna freak out right now, you know,
Yeah.
instead of like getting a text, oh, I'm freaking out. It's not like, oh, I don't want to talk to her. It's like, no, like, what's going on, you know? And other people like, I just don't even want to deal with it. And that's fine, but
We've been busy before where it's, you know, like one of us needs each other and then like we're too busy, like, or we're doing something, we're driving, like, and something's about to happen, but we don't judge the person for not responding immediately.
right.
We understand, okay, they're gonna call me, they care. And
You
like,
can count on them.
so important. And I know that we all message each other like, oh my gosh, what's going on, you know, or like, I can't call you right now, but I promise you I'm going to call you as soon as I can because I care. Like, we make sure to remind the person that we care, which is super important. But we also don't feel like, oh, they're just going to avoid me.
Right. No, not at all. Like,
Exactly.
right. We're always going to be here and you've got to find a group of people. And like you said, Lachelle, whether it be strangers or not, I mean, there's all kinds of groups where strangers come together, you know, substance abuse groups and things like that. It's not any different. It's just the setting you're most comfortable in with the people you're most comfortable with. You know, a lot of the times
Hmm.
it's not family because a lot of the problems we have or things we stress about come from the closest people. So it's hard to talk to them about it anyways,
Right.
Right.
you know?
Being on the listening side, don't be afraid if you do have a judgment that comes in because you are still human. You're allowed to have your own thoughts, your opinions. It's natural to have a reaction. You don't have to act on it. You don't have to speak on it. You can take it and process it. But it is okay if you do initially feel like, whoa, this is overwhelming. But it's about how you go about responding to it. That's the thing just in life. It's important to respond, not react.
Right. Whether it
And
be
with
to
that,
yourself or someone else. Yeah.
exactly. So it's okay if you do get a little freaked out by the situation because, again, you are human. You're not a professional. We don't expect you to be able to help that person, whether it's a loved one or a stranger. We would expect you to be able to provide the necessary care that they need, whether it's just listening or whatever the case may be. But just for you to be open-hearted and open-minded. That's all that's being asked of you. And seriously, if you take 10 seconds to like take a beat, you may see that you feel a little bit differently. You might understand a little bit more. You might realize that, oh, the initial shock was just because I just heard it. But now I'm actually understanding and I'm understanding where you came from. So don't be afraid. Don't feel negative to yourself
Yeah.
if you do feel like that when trying to help somebody. It is okay because you're only human.
Right. It's heavy stuff a lot of the time, a lot of the stuff we go through in life. So it takes a second to kind of like, okay, what's the right thing I should say? You know, and like you said, you have to process it before just responding, just reacting. Understand like what's going on to even if you could even handle it or
Right.
and like Lisa, you know, offer the resources, offer the help if you can't. It's like, oh, this is a little much, you know, I'll help you find some help, but I don't know how much more, you know, other than listening, I can be here for something like that. You know,
Right.
I've had, yeah, you know, I mean, I've had to do that with myself with some of my closest friends and family. You know, they've gone through some real heavy stuff. And sometimes what they need is for someone just to acknowledge, like, hey, I'm here, but leave me alone type thing. And it's like, I'll leave you be. I won't keep checking on you. You know, you have to also be open to other people about what you need so they know what you need, you know,
Right.
like saying
Mm-hmm.
But I
how to
think
help each other communicate.
different because we're so afraid to talk about it in
Yeah,
the world that we've grown up in, is that telling people we need help is admitting we have a problem, which then means like, oh, people could judge me, and it's because you're judging yourself. Really, you're judging that other people are going to judge you, which causes like a whole spiral of issues.
right.
And you just need to learn, like, again, taking a beat, like if you're not ready to talk about it, you're not being forced, you're not being cornered to talk about it. But people do care, like people in your life care, even if like your trauma might be from family or specific people in your life, like that doesn't mean that they don't care. Like they really do. They just don't know how to show you in the way that you need it to be shown. And it's okay to
Exactly.
tell them that also, and try and like have a calm sit down conversation about it.
Exactly. And, you know, coming from somebody like me who doesn't really like to discuss the fact that they have a lot going on in their mind and that they're really panicked at the moment, it's okay. It is okay to open up. There's a lot of people that are going to be like, I had no idea. You keep it so well together. Why didn't you say anything? It'll be amazing how many people reach out to you when you finally open up your mouth. You know, there's that old saying, closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
And your soul won't be fed if you don't speak up on it. I am learning every day how to speak up and really voice my truth and my feelings. It's very difficult. It's not going to happen overnight. I still struggle to do it, but I definitely feel better once I do. And I have found family members, new family members that I didn't even know cared as much. And people are really willing to be there for you. And that's just something that you need to understand. I say need because I'm serious. People care about you. You just got to find them.
That's right.
I actually really think that's a great note to end everything, because I don't think I could have said that any better than you, Lachelle. So again, I will post the suicide hotline number at the end, and thank you guys so much for being a part of our Navigating Mental Health Stigma show. Bye.
Bye.